Well, the crypto market is in its corrective phase, and during this time, we are seeing a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear, and even a ton of posts regarding the bull run being over. Now, I want to go over a lot of information in this video. Obviously, if you guys did join into the live stream earlier today, which will be going live later today as well, then you already know that a lot of this is just all noise. Everything that we're starting to hear about the fear-based reasonings behind all of this negative price action, a lot of it is just noise. We'll go over that. We'll go over why exactly the market looks the way it does today and address some of the altcoins as well. Now, if we look at the daily and the weekly, yeah, it's red currently. The hourly just started to turn green. Some of the altcoins are bouncing back a bit. And the monthly still looks very good. I mean, HBAR is up 50+%, XRP is up 30+%, XDC up 57+%, XLM 60+%, and the altcoins still look very good here. The main thing about today is that we are starting to see that price action on Bitcoin that I have warned about for quite some time. We are down to 113.5K. And we did hit a little bit more of a low on the chart. We'll go over that. Ethereum 3,500, XRP still just under $3. SUI $3.50, XLM 38, almost 39 cents. HBAR about 24 cents. Most of the losses today, yeah, there's been some double-digit losses, but for the most part, on the weekly, some of these altcoins are still green. There is definitely a lot of losses on the weekly when it comes to meme coins. But, when we really kind of look at this list, most of the altcoin market is still looking pretty good, even on the monthly or even the higher time frame structure. So this is basically just a corrective phase. And we also did follow stocks today because stocks did have a major drop from the high recently. They were down and they actually closed at about roughly 3% down. We did hit that target that I was telling you guys about. And if you guys do go back to the midnight video from yesterday, you would know that I said we're no longer going to about 6,500 here, but we did hit the red zone. And, basically I said that this is our next move on the stocks, right? So on the S&P, we definitely did get that move. We had the sell-off. Now, are we bottomed out here? Well, number one, Monday is definitely going to be very important to watch for stocks. I still think that we can hit this low range around roughly 6,200. That would retest, it's actually 61 to 6,200, but that would retest the high back in February around 6,150. And that's where I do see a recovery happening from that point on. Now, I've been seeing a lot of people saying oh, well, with the trade war and the tariff discussions, don't you think that we're going to see something like this, where we have this massive sell-off across the board yet again? No. I don't believe so. I think markets have kind of matured to the point where people are saying, well, listen, these tariffs and this trade war, it is all noise. They'll figure it out. All year long, what we've been hearing about are these trade deals being done, right? China is starting to work with the US. The EU already made a trade deal. Mexico's already making a trade deal. The UK is trying to make a trade deal. All of these major deals have happened in over the last couple 3 months or so. And if we're thinking about that, all of this noise about the tariff discussions is simply just that. It's noise. So I expect us to get through this pullback, and then after that, we will have a major surge to the upside. Because even over here, we have from CNBC live updates, Trump tariffs inject more uncertainty into the global economy. That's exactly what sold off stocks, which led to the sell-off across the board for crypto. Obviously, crypto was going to have a pullback regardless, but this definitely just accelerated things. In terms of liquidations, we hit about $905 million. I think that this was a little over $1 billion, but this was the liquidation watch. Over $905 million wiped in the last 24 hours. 198,000 plus traders got wiped. 823 million from longs, 82 million from shorts. Largest hit, a 13.8 $8 million Ethereum long. Stay sharp out there. So yeah, listen, liquidation cascade, big overreaction from the market. And when we go over here to Scopus's X account, we have the past 2 weeks have seen POTUS achieve historic progress in our nation's relationship with Japan, South Korea, and China. These developments have represented a significant success in our effort to rebalance global trade and towards enacting President Trump's America First trade agenda across the world. And we do have all of the updates here. Obviously, if you guys do want to go and check it out, you guys are more, than welcome to go check this out. But here we have that trade deal with South Korea being announced on the 31st. There's a few updates with China. Obviously, they didn't get a deal made just yet, but they are working towards it. But overall, we are starting to see a lot of progress made here. And I want people to realize, like, listen, when we are hearing all of this uncertainty talk from the mainstream media, and we're starting to see fear levels picking back up, it's typically a good time to be looking at the market from a zoomed out perspective and say, listen, we came this far. I don't think that this is really anything to worry about. Even when it comes to the entire crypto market right now, let's just refresh this, make sure everything is up to date. Fear and greed down to about 51. This is very good to see. Market cap 3.7 trillion, nothing too crazy there. I just said in the live stream, and if you guys were in the live stream, good on you. But if we look at this, we go back in time, right? Let's go back to, September here. September was all the way down to like 30, 35 or so. Some of them like 26 here. This was a very good time to be buying the market. We didn't even have to drop in order to get down to these lows either. It was just, time capitulation. The market was pretty boring. Even XRP, I said it in the live stream, XRP during that time, almost everyone hated on XRP because this is what we were doing. We're just trading sideways until we had that massive expansion to the upside. Again, this was a very good time to be buying XRP and altcoins during this time here. Also, more recently, March into April of this year, where the market officially bottomed. Even stocks. Let's go back to stocks. We bottomed out officially in April. Perfect time to be adding, some index funds with the S&P to your IRA portfolio, or even investing into the S&P or investing into certain stocks, throwing money into crypto. It was a perfect time when fear levels were at, peak lows. And when we think about the market now, we're starting to get back down into that neutral territory. I think that we have a little bit more time to go until we really see like those low 40 levels. But this is going to be a perfect opportunity yet again. I do think that Bitcoin is getting close to that bottom. I've mentioned it many times over. 112K is my focus. So far, this is what the chart looks like. We are still waiting for those highs to be retested for May. Same thing with the S&P, right? We're still looking for those highs to be retested back here in February of this year. I still see us possibly retesting that before we get that nice recovery. With Bitcoin, again, the focus is May. We probably have, a retest of these lows. We retest the 117K level, maybe sell off back down into like one of these major wick levels. Then we finally get the big break back to 120K. From 120K, we retest that resistance level one more time. And then from that resistance level of 117K, we finally get the big break. And this sends us to $130,000. Is there a possibility that we do lose this high and we go a little bit lower? Yeah, sure. There's always that possibility that we can go a little bit lower. What level would I be watching for during this time? Well, there's quite a bit of support down here at about roughly 107K. That's like the next level of focus. It's not the end of the world if we lose 112K. It just means that we are going to see a little bit more pain, which isn't, unheard of in this market. We know that max pain scenarios hit in a big way, but it would wipe out sentiment, which already has started to kind of get wiped out anyways. So this would definitely be beneficial for us that are bulls right now in this market, because it means that sentiment's going to get reset. Liquidity is going to be grabbed down here, because again, every time that we liquidate those, longs, we add more liquidity to the market, and then we can liquidate shorts, adding that liquidity on the upside push. So again, it's all a game of liquidity. It's all of a game of sentiment as well. And again, I'm expecting 112K to hold. We'll have to watch, wait, and see. But outside of Bitcoin, Ethereum as well. Ethereum had a major sell-off today. It was a little bit more significant. I'm still expecting this blue zone to possibly be, targeted on Ethereum, which would be about roughly 3,300 to about 3,000 from our current level. This $3,300 level is not that far off, about 6%. We could tap this fully and just retrace down to 3K. That would be a 13% drop. I'm unsure if we do see that massive drop, but 3,300 is not out of the question. But so far, I'm definitely watching for any significant impulsive move back above these major support zones. Monday is my focus for stocks. I'm definitely going to be watching stocks a little bit more going into Monday, but In terms of like XRP, SUI, XLM, or even HBAR, all of these charts here. So just taking a quick look, we have a little bit more downside pressure that could possibly be targeted. With XRP, I'm mainly looking at about like $2.60 to $2.80. I think that this would be a fair area to be tapped. And we might even just hit the wick back here from December around like $2.87. Nothing too crazy there. In terms of SUI, I think SUI's close to being bottomed out here, which is why we're already kind of trading in this zone. It would be about $3.11 to about $3.60 officially on the bottom here. And this is actually a little bit low. This is $3.14, sorry. But again, most of these altcoins still look very good. Most of them already broke over their previous highs. They look very good structure wise. We are just waiting for the big bounce in the market. In terms of Stellar, again, XLM close to its bottoming point or the demand zone on this chart. I'm expecting 32 to about 38 cents. We're already within range of that almost. And then HBAR as well, anywhere between like 19 to like 23 cents. We could go lower, obviously, but it's questionable on if we do get those lows ran. I think most of the altcoin market should be close to this bottoming point, especially if we are expecting Bitcoin to just tap 112K and maintain that. Obviously, we have to wait and see how stocks react on Monday. Monday will definitely be a big moment for us. But overall, I feel like this is just one big shakeout. Even when we look at the big exchanges like Binance and Coinbase, they were dumping millions of Ethereum. We have why? Well, to wipe out leverage longs. Once liquidations hit, they pump it back up. This is all one big psychological game, right? The exchanges, they love when the markets are fearful. The big institutional players, they love when the markets are fearful. This is prime time for them because they know that mainstream media is pushing the uncertainty around the economy. They're talking about the tariff discussions, a trade war, and this is leading to stocks selling off, which obviously impacts the market. And now we're starting to see sentiment shift. People are getting a little bit scared, concerned. They're getting shaken out. And this is where these big players like the exchanges and the institutional players, they love this. They absolutely feed off of this because they know that when the markets erupt again, those same individuals that sold will come right back in, FOMOing into the top. This is why you cannot let the price action shake you out. Shakeouts will happen along the way. They always do. Already, if we think about it, if you bought back in 2022, we're coming up on 3 years since FTX. FTX was a huge buy opportunity. Luna was a huge buy opportunity. We go forward, right? 2023, big banks collapsing back in like March of 2023. Huge buy opportunity. April into September or August into September of 2023. Huge buy opportunity. Back in September, the summer of 2024 as well. All of this big buy opportunity. April into or March into April, big buy opportunity. All of these major fearful levels, all of these significant bearish events, they're all big shakeouts that are typically utilized for buy opportunities from the big and smart money players. This is why you need to think like them. When the markets are scared, when the retail sector is, shaking, that's when you should be buying. You should not be buying when everyone's celebrating and everyone's excited about the price action. They're all happy. No, that's typically a time to be exiting some positions, taking some profits, but always keep a moon bag and don't sell your full bag ever. But I just think that, just basing these markets off of emotions and psychological events in time, like if we go back to like the pandemic, like these are peak fear, areas and events of the market where if you look at the reaction in the market and how everyone reacted after, you could see that there's a pattern to all of this. When we see extreme fear, when we see uncertainty from the headline articles, that's the best time to be focused up and locked in. So right now, I think that this is a typical shakeout. We will probably see markets bounce back in a huge way after this. All you have to do is get through August. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.